take that deep, relaxing breath and just breathe into this present moment. The only moment that really exists. Eckhart Tolle talked about that. It was always just this current moment of now. The title of my talk today is Graduation Gifts. You probably thought that this weekend was just all about Chico State graduates. Well, today you get an opportunity to graduate from some limited beliefs. Are you ready to do that? Great. About a week ago, I walked by a little cluster of children outside, and they were looking intently at this cage. And I thought, oh, what's going on here? I'm a child, I gotta check this out. And I noticed that they were releasing butterflies from their chrysalises, and well, they weren't releasing them, they were opening the cage for letting the butterflies emerge. And while that was magical in itself, watching the butterfly just shake free from the fluids that hold it back, stretch its wings, and then take off through the cage, what was even more incredible was hearing the children's reaction to it. And they had this almost symphonic delight that came up when the butterfly flew away. It wasn't like they had rehearsed this. There was this beautiful chorus of, oh, and watching it take off. And I just stood there in awe as this innocent, childlike wonder, watching something transform before its eyes and fly to freedom. And I thought, you know, that's kind of the way graduation can be. We've created a cocoon around ourselves for a while, whatever we needed to do to work on. And then when we're ready, we let go of what no longer serves us and could just be holding us back. And then we emerge and are able to fly. So this morning, I'd like to offer you tools that you can use more on your own. You don't have to resolve every deep, serious issue right here this morning. In fact, it's probably better that you don't. But you can continue to do this in the privacy of your own home with some things you pick up today. We often dramatize or just repeat over and over stories about our lives that don't always serve us. And once again, beliefs are really just thoughts that we keep having over and over. So we get the opportunity to look at those beliefs and see how they might be holding us back. Recently, a speaker at a graduation said, "Life is not fair." Well, today, I beg to disagree, because I think that the more we discover the power of our thoughts and our beliefs and how that intense focus on something, we get what we think or believe about, whether we like it or not. So we have to often question what we're giving our powerful attention to. How many of you have heard of Don Miguel Ruiz? He wrote a book years ago that was quite popular called The Four Agreements. Well, he has something that kind of helps to break down these notions of sticking to these beliefs. And so I'm going to read you one of his beliefs called "Don't make assumptions." The third agreement is don't make assumptions. We have the tendency to make assumptions about everything. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are the truth. We could swear they are real. We make assumptions about what others are doing or thinking. We take it personally. Then we blame them and react by sending them emotional poison with our word. That is why whenever we make assumptions, we're asking for problems. We make an assumption, we misunderstand, we take it personally, and we end up creating a whole big drama for nothing. I know none of you have ever done that. Make assumptions, create a little drama. So just think about how just the whole notion of recognizing how many assumptions we make on a day-to-day basis. That driver's not going to cut me off, or that person's always going to be there for me. Just little things that it helps if we recognize, it's just an assumption. Another author that also breaks down this notion is Byron Katie. I don't know how many of you are familiar with her work. Just a little show of hands. Great. So she asked 4 main questions that we're going to kind of explore today. But you can also go to her website, I think it's byronkatie.com, and download a worksheet and do some of the stuff on your own because it's very powerful. And I know it's helped me break through some barriers that I've had with my limited thinking. Her 4 questions, we're going to focus more on 3 of them today. But the 4 questions, the first one is it true? Can that thought that I've been thinking, is it true? Can I absolutely know that it's true? That's the second one. So you've just been thinking it over and over, and after a while you're starting to get comfortable with it and say, oh yeah, it must be true, I've been thinking it every day. The third one, how do I react when I believe that thought? Do I get angry? Do I lose control? And then the fourth one is, who would I be without that thought? This is where the real gift comes in. Who would I be without that thought opens up a whole new sense of freedom. So when I'm willing to let go of old beliefs, then I'm able to let go of some intense emotion that I might have been propping up those thoughts with over time. Let me give you a brief example from my own life. For the first 10 years of my life, I felt rather unworthy and incapable of a lot of things. My parents had 2 boys and 2 girls, and then I came along. And I just knew that I was the accident or the mistake. And I also had 2 brothers, older brothers, who really liked to tease me. And so I never really felt like I was able to catch up with what they were talking about. So as a result, I just concluded, well, I'm never going to know anything. And my father was also a high school teacher. And as a little girl, when I'd go visit his high school, I'd see all the hard stuff that they were studying. And I thought, there's no way I'm ever going to get this down. I'm probably just going to drop out in 6th grade. And my life would be a total failure. And so it wasn't until I finally questioned that belief of being unworthy and then getting the gift, graduating from that just I'll never amount to anything belief, and then graduating from it to I can do more than I think I can. I can study and try a little harder, and then I can challenge myself to learn, which I did, and I did make it through high school, and then I went back to teach it. So it's almost like a spiritual alchemy that comes when we question those assumptions that we have about so many things, and it opens up a new perspective or a pathway to emerge from our limited concepts. So what could be a devastating situation can really pave a path for us to have a healing or a revealing. So it doesn't have to be an intense belief that we explored today. Another lighter example is my son didn't eat hot dogs for the first 7 years of his life because he believed they were made out of real dogs. Anybody else have that? So other than being hungry at birthday parties, it didn't affect him a whole lot. But when we finally asked him why he wasn't eating the hot dogs, we thought, he was already a health fanatic at the age of 4. We found out this shocking news, and we assured him that no dogs would ever be harmed in the making of our meals. So what I want to do with you today is a little process where you close your eyes if you choose. Maybe have the lights lower a little bit. And you just take a deep, relaxing breath in. Just get comfortable. Feel your back and your bottom supported by the chair you're sitting in. And now your feet are planted firmly on the ground. And one of the ways of this teaching is also clear our thoughts through types of meditation to get rid of old beliefs. So anytime you can just stop when you're in a frenetic pace and making beliefs that you don't want to hold on to, just take that deep breath in and relax. And now I want you to think back to a time somewhere in the first 12 years of your life where you made an assumption, a belief yourself. I want you to ask yourself, is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? Now I want you to take that small leap and say, who would I be without that thought? What if that thought were no longer dictating how you did your life based on an agreement you made as a child? Are you willing to let go of your old belief and embrace the gift that aligns with that pure, positive energy that you're made up of? It's the truth about you from your higher self. The truth that your spiritual being knows about you. Now when you see that, or just the essence of it, and as I said, you could explore this more on your own, but I invite you to slowly open your eyes. Chime the bell to bring you back. And in a few moments, I'm going to ask you to share within your pods only what you're comfortable sharing, first of all, and a few ground rules for this. For those listening, just let whoever is talking talk. We're not here to fix them or judge them. You can ask clarifying questions, but then I invite you just to be aware to let everybody speak if you have more than 2 or 3 people. And I'm just going to give you 2 or 3 minutes for this first one to kind of just explore in your group. And so the questions you're going to ask are, what limited childhood belief are you graduating from? What gifts are you ready to accept that come out of that? So go ahead and just take these few moments. I'll ring the chime 3 times when I'd like you to focus back up here. And then just share amongst your pod, as I said. Any questions? No? Okay. So many things to say, so little time. I invite you to, why is it always the practitioners who tend to be more chatty? Mr. Andy? I know that it's frustrating having to come back up here, but in the interest of time, we have to get through your entire life. So, what I'd like you to do is finish your conversations in the social hour afterwards. That's the whole purpose of this as well. So remember who you sat with, and then you can continue some of these at a future time period. So I would like to get through a few more things then. Now, let's move on to those wonderful, exciting teenage years. They were a landmine of awkward feelings, rejection, confusion, first loves, and maybe a few hormones thrown in for good measure, right? Now, on a lighter example that I'll share about my life, is nobody wants to stay stuck feeling unworthy. I developed a belief again in high school that I could not eat pizza in a public place. And it all stemmed from my first date ever in high school. And I was going to the dance afterwards with this boy who took me to the pizza place. And he was a senior, I was a freshman, so I had to act really cool. Well, my first bite of pizza, the entire top layer came sliding off. The cheesy, gooey, pepperoni beard now clung to my chin. And this was not the look that I was aspiring for at all. I also had red sauce speckled all over my white shirt, and I kind of looked like a murder scene. So when I finally peeled off the top layer of not just skin, but pizza, I was horrified because I had a big red triangle now as well. And even though I was embarrassed and my face was red from embarrassment, it never concealed the big triangle. So I developed this belief, as limited as it might have been, that I just could not eat pizza in public. So once I questioned that and wanted to graduate from that limited belief, I could embrace the gift of using a fork or not caring what people felt like I looked like at a pizza place. So that's a lighter example of something that, just kind of stuck with you, but you realized you're still doing something based on years ago. A little habit that formed that no longer needs to serve such a prominent place in your life all these years later. Or maybe just a few. I'm assuming everybody is beyond their teen years here. Now just go ahead once again and take a deep breath in. Relax comfortably into your chair. And as you exhale, I want you to think back to a time in your teenage years when you formed some assumption or developed a consistent thought about something that limited your life. And I want you to ask yourself, is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? Now, who would you be without that thought? Without that limiting thought? How would you be in the world? How would you be in this beautiful way that spirit sees with greater self-expression? And now when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes, come back into this present moment. And in your pods, you're going to answer the next two questions. What limited belief from your teenage years are you graduating from? What gift are you ready to accept for yourself? So I will give you 3 or 4 minutes for this week. You can solve it all in that time.
Welcome back. And once again, this is a teaser for social hour later. Let's move on now to your adult life. What was that? No? So beliefs that you've had from after your teen years up until now. Maybe you felt like you had to work hard for a living. Maybe you felt like you had to keep up with those infamous Joneses and do everything that they did to look good. Maybe your parents had an expectation of a career for you that you felt like you needed to do. Maybe they expected you to get married right away and have children, and so you did. Perhaps it was a belief about some career that you felt like you never could do, but you still held on to that. So once again, I invite you to take that deep, relaxing breath in. And as you exhale, just close your eyes, relaxing into the chair. I want you to think of some belief you formed in your adult life up until now. And ask yourself, is it true? Can I absolutely know that it's true? Who would I be without that thought? So give yourself a moment to think of the freedom that your life might have if you didn't hang on to that belief. Maybe it's some fear-based belief that if you let go, you would be brave to do the things that your heart longs to do. Now I want you to explore what limited belief from being an adult are you graduating from? And what gift are you ready to accept from it? Okay? Go ahead. You guys have been in 2003? Finally, I want you to think about the future. Have your goals and dreams changed a bit over time? Perhaps you have based a lot of beliefs on what you should do. And now you're shooting on yourself for something that no longer even applies. Something that you no longer have as a dream or goal. Maybe you don't want to travel in an RV until you die. Maybe you don't want your mother-in-law to move in with you. Maybe you've had fear because your family members have all had a certain health challenge, and now you're subscribing to that as well, thinking you're destined to be the same way. Maybe you don't want to give up on the belief that you can't find love later in life. Perhaps there are a few other things on your wish or bucket list that you've not quite nurtured and brought to fruition. Maybe there's a new class that you want to take or a choir you want to join. Some deeper aspiration. There was a 100-year-old plus lady who was asked how she lived so long. What was her secret to this longevity? And she said that she changed jobs every 7 years, that she always wanted to learn, and she worked well into her 90s. So once again, I want you to take a deep breath, relaxing into your chair, closing your eyes when you're comfortable, and just think about your future. Those future dreams that you still have. Or maybe those ones that you want to let go of. Those limiting beliefs that you have about your future. And ask yourself, is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? Who would you be without that thought? What possibilities and freedom are open for you? Now, in your pods, you're going to ask what limited beliefs about your future are you graduating from? And what gift are you ready to accept from that graduation with that belief? And go ahead and talk amongst yourselves.
You know, I think for me,
conversation in social hall. But I do want you to recognize these as tools that you can take with you and really use on your own, because if you don't begin to question some of the assumptions you've carried around, you'll never really know which ones you're being limited by. Just real briefly, would anybody like to share one insight, a graduation, a gift that they got from any of the 4 topics today? Just call it out if you want to, if you're, oh, yes.
The biggest thing about the future is reminding myself and being in the mindful state that it's right now. That's
Yes.
it.
Yes, the only moment of control is right
like
now.
Enjoyment, reflection, all those things, it's right now. And I can think about what I want to do or be or have, but enjoy, appreciate, expound on what's right now is that for me.
Thank you very much. I heard one person say that the one way to give up control is to be okay with whatever happens. That's truly the only way to control life, is to be okay with whatever outcome. Now, I'd like to share with you a brief, if you could bring up the video now, please. A brief video on, some of you might have seen this 2 years ago. It was Jim Carrey's graduation speech, and I'm just going to share 3 minutes of it, but I feel like there are some real nuggets of wisdom in here. So enjoy.
You can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about the pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here, and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. I'm saying, I'm the proof that you can ask the universe for it. Please. I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. That peace that we're after lies somewhere beyond personality. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory. As far as I can tell, it's just about letting the universe know what you want and working toward it while letting go of how it comes to pass. And when I say life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, I really don't know if that's true. I'm just making a conscious choice to perceive challenges as something beneficial so that I can deal with them in the most productive way. You'll come up with your own style. That's part of the fun. Like many of you, I was concerned about going out into the world and doing something bigger than myself, until someone smarter than myself made me realize that there is nothing bigger than myself. You are ready and able to do beautiful things in this world. And after you walk through those doors today, you will only ever have 2 choices, love or fear. Choose love, and don't ever let fear turn you against your playful heart. Thank you so much.
Powerful stuff. The thing that I took away from that was you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a risk doing what you love. It's been a mantra for me. As you go out into the world today, just by recognizing those limited beliefs that you've had or still have and you're working through, you can graduate into a higher level of being. Just like that butterfly that freed itself from the cocoon to fly away. You don't beat yourself up for being in the cocoon. It helped provide an opportunity for transformation. You just let go and spread your wings. Now that you've revealed some gifts about yourself today, I invite you to go out and share your truly more powerful ways of being in this world with all those you love. Thank you so much for listening.